So here we are in the new year, and we need to come up with strategies to get things done this year, right? So what do you use? There are people that use planners and they have details of what they're going to do basically the entire year, and they break it down into months and then weeks and then days. There are people who create lists, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, I am going to admit that I am not a fan of lists. I am not a list maker. So why are we going to talk about lists today? Because I find that even though I'm not a list maker, that isn't my preferred way of getting organized and planning. It is part of the whole planning system. So let's talk about lists today and how they can help you to get organized.
You have a story to tell, but you don't know where to start. Let me show you how to free your story. I teach you how to write and how to dig deep in your soul to release your story and make a difference in the world.
Welcome to the Julia Amante channel. If we're just meeting, I am Julia Amante. I'm a women's fiction author, and I'm here on Fridays to give you some tips on how to improve your writing and how to hopefully get your book project finished this year. So let's talk about getting organized, because in order to write a book, in order to complete a project that is large like a book, it's going to take some planning, right? It's going to take some organizing so that you know what you're going to do and you start taking steps towards getting that book completed. So I am, like I just mentioned, right? I am not a list maker. So that means I don't get up every morning and make a list of things that I have to get done that day. So I don't have my like to-do list, right? Now, completely opposite from my husband. That's what my husband does. So I've like told him, this is a great planner. Try planning, try doing this. He's a list maker. He makes his list and he works off his list and he checks things off, and that's how he does it every single day. Now, to me, the reason that I like planners, so planning with a planner. So when I'm talking planner, I'm talking about any kind of planner that you buy. It doesn't matter which kind, right? But that it helps you to break down your projects. It has sometimes what your weekly goal times are, your dates with all your times. Some of them are daily, which is what I switched to this year, is to a daily planner. But the reason that I prefer those planners compared to just creating a list of things to do is because with a planner, typically you're planning way ahead, right? I'm not just planning for today, but I'm looking into sometimes the entire year or months or weeks ahead. And I can really break down things and really see what I need to do. And eventually I get down to what I'm going to be doing each day, right? Where a list just feels different. It doesn't feel like I'm planning for my future. It just feels like a to-do list, and it's endless. And the only reward that I get for completing my list is that tomorrow I have to get up and create a brand new list. So I don't see the progress, right? I don't see how this is helping. What I'm doing today is helping me towards a larger goal. Where if I work off a planner, I'm actually working backwards, right? I'm working from the big project. Let's say it's to lose weight, or let's say it's to write a novel, whatever, right? I'm working backwards. So my goal is to lose 20 pounds. Then fine, that is my goal. And then I can break that down to what I'm going to be doing this month in order to do that, what I'm going to be eating, how I'm going to be exercising, maybe books I'm going to read in order to gain more information, or maybe doctor's appointments I'm going to make, whatever, right? I have my plan of how I'm going to tackle this project so that I can get it done within the time frame that I want. And so I have things to do this month, I have things to do next month, I have things to do the following month. And so when I am doing those individual little things, right, I'm calling the doctor, making an appointment to get a blood test, let's say, to see where I'm at. Then, okay, perfect. That I know why I'm doing that. It's not just a to-do list that I get up today and I say, what am I going to do today? Let's see. Why don't I make a doctor's appointment, right? So it's a different mentality. So I do prefer plans. I do think you have to have that, right? You have to have a longer term plan. However, those plans that I love, right, eventually are going to be broken down into these smaller action steps. So what we're going to talk about today is that how do you break down those plans and how do you create these lists to help you? So first, let's discuss like why does this matter? Why should you do this? Well, how is this going to help you? So let's talk about the psychology of making lists. So it's been proven that when we write things down, we are more likely to get them done. So if we have a list of the things that we need to get done that day, we're more likely to actually get them done than if we don't have the list. So if all we have is a plan to lose weight and we don't break it down into little steps of what we're going to do, then we're most likely not going to achieve that goal. And if I get up in the morning and I have my action steps, these are the things that I have to do. This is the list of things that I have to get done today. I am more likely to do it than if I just say, well, I'm just going to get up every day and I'm going to go to the gym. I don't need to write this down because I already know I'm going to get up every day and go to the gym. So I'm not going to write this down. I'm not going to make a list of it. Well, what tends to happen is that you don't go to the gym and you don't work out because it's not sitting there. It's not a thing that you wrote down that you're going to do today. So even though you know you're going to do it, you say you're going to do it every day, unless it's part of that day's list of things to do, you most likely will not do it because other things will get in the way and then eventually you won't go. So we want to make sure that we have that list. We're writing that down. The second thing, psychologically, is that it actually creates less stress. So when we have a lot of things in our mind that we need to do, I need to go to the gym, I got to go to the grocery store, I got to go do my laundry, I have to do this, I have to grade papers, I have to, whatever I have to do in my day, right? If I keep all that in my brain and I'm like, okay, did I do that yet? And I still have to do this, right? What's going to happen is it's going to create all this stress. Where if instead I write it all down and I know that I'm going to methodically go down my list of things that I'm going to get done for each one of the projects that I have for the day, then I don't have to carry them all in my head. I know that they're there and I know that I'm not going to forget them. And I know that I'm going to come back to them and I'm going to do them today, hopefully, right? So that creates less stress. And so that's another advantage of having these lists. It's also the third reason that psychologically we want to create these lists is that it is motivating. So when we write it down and we see that we're going to do something, we're more motivated to do it, right? So here is something that we have to do. And actually, the more specific you are, right? So if you just say, if you just write down, okay, I'm going to work on my novel today. I'm going to work on my novel tomorrow. I'm going to work on my novel every single day at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And you make a plan and you say that's what you're going to do. Perfect. You've written into your long-term plan and you know that every day at 3 o'clock you're going to do this. However, if you are very specific and on your list, you get up that day and you say, today at 3 o'clock, I'm going to work on my novel. I know I'm going to, but what exactly am I going to do? Well, I am going to rewrite scene number 3 from chapter 17, let's say. And then I'm going to write the next scene. So you have a specific plan, right? A detailed plan, action plan that you're going to take that day towards working on your novel rather than saying I'm going to work on my novel. So it's very motivating to know, okay, I know exactly what I'm going to do and I'm going to feel really good when I rewrite that scene and I make progress towards my next scene. So it is really a great idea to be specific and to write it down. So, mentally, psychologically, there is a really good reason to create these lists to make progress on our plans. So let's talk about the actual planning then. How do I personally use lists to plan? So let's go over that. So the first thing that I do, I'll take you through my little steps, is on my planner, I have a section that says tasks. So those are going to be the to-do list, right? Those are the things that I have to get done that day. And so on Sunday, typically, I will take my planner with me out. I might go sit on the backyard when it's nice outside and just on my patio, kind of enjoy being outside in nature, hearing the birds and all that stuff, just putting myself into that sort of relaxing mood where I can think. Because sometimes when I'm in my office, it's not, it should be, it should be comfortable and it should be a place to think. But because I'm so used to doing work here, I'm either writing or I'm working for my classes and grading student work and doing all the work that I have to do. Sometimes I can't get into that planning mode. So anyways, I just get out, right? Whether I go here or I go somewhere else, I will sit with my planner. And the first thing that I do is I look at the projects that I have coming up that month, right? So it may be that I have a speaking engagement that I will be going to, or I may be going to a conference, or I may be teaching a course, or whatever, right? I look at the larger projects, or writing a novel, hopefully. So I have all these different projects. Which one of those am I working on this month, this week. I'm usually planning for the week at that point. I do plan for my month and quarterly, but I'm just talking about the week, right? So I look at my week and I think, okay, this week I am working on this, right? So I look at the bigger projects and I make sure that I'm going the tasks that I'm going to have to get done for that project. Then I look at kind of my personal life. What am I going to do? Do I need to, call a plumber? Do I need to go to the dentist? Do I need to pay a bill? Do I need to make phone calls? What do I need to do to keep my household running, right? So I look at that and say, okay, what are some things that have to get done this week for my house? Do I have a project going on here? Am I installing new drapes? What am I doing? Then if I am, then I'm going to have things to do for that, right? So I look at that for that week and I write down those tasks that are going to fall under that. Now, really at this point, what I've just done is I've just really made a bunch of lists, right? So I made a list for my projects. I've made a list for work. I've made a list for personal things that I have to get done. Maybe for, under personal, I might break it down to like household things and fitness things and other things, right? But I really only have a list of things that have to get done that week. I don't really know when I'm going to do it yet. So the next thing that I do is I go through that week and I just X out things that times that I know for sure I'm not going to be able to do it. So if I'm teaching a course from 4 to 7 o'clock or two courses or whatever, I know that I'm going to be busy during that day, that time, right? So I will just X that out because I can't do anything during that time. I'm already busy. Or other times during the day when I can't do it, if I'm sleeping, if I'm, eating dinner, whatever I'm doing, right? I'm going to X out those times and then I'm going to look and see what I have left and which one of those things on my weekly list of things that I have to get done can I plug into these open spaces in order to get these projects finished. So what I do is I look under each category, right? So first I should say when I first write all my lists down, because I've been doing this for so long, I really don't categorize them. I just write down as I think of them, right? Oh, I need to do some laundry. I need to write my next chapter. And it might be just all disorganized. So I do actually take a moment afterwards, since I've written just a long list of things to do, is I categorize them under the proper things, right? So I might have things under my work in progress. I might have things under marketing. I might have things under household. So I do kind of categorize them. And then I look and say, at this point, right, after I've written everything down and I've looked at my calendar to see where I have open spots, first of all, what is the most important thing that I have to get done that week? Because even though I have a whole list of things, some of those things I could probably leave till the end and may not need to get done, right? So one of the things that tends to happen to me is I almost always write down that I'm going to clean and organize my office, almost always, because I have papers to file or I have just, sweeping or cleaning or something, just putting things away and keeping things kind of organized and clean in my office. But I almost always put that at the end because is it super important that I clean my windows? Sure, I like to look out my windows and not see dust, but is it more important than writing my next chapter? No. Is it more important than going to the gym and exercising? No. At some point, it will become more important, right? So if I'm really ignoring it and I say I'm going to do it this week, and then I'm going to do it next week, and then I'm going to do it the third week, and I still haven't made the time to clean my office because it's not a huge priority, at one point it will become a priority because I don't want to live in a huge mess, right? I don't want dust everywhere. So at one point I will say, okay, this is moving up to priority number one. I have to get my office clean, right? So every week you have to decide what is the most important because you only have so much time and you have to plug in all these things where they go. Now you might have a 2 hour block of time where you can put in something large or you may only have a little bit of time where you can put in something smaller, right? So you can either highlight things or, do 1, 2, 3 or ABC or whatever system you want to use to show which one is the most important, which one you're going to do from each section, first. And another thing too is that sometimes it depends on you and how you work. So some people will choose to do most of the high priority things first thing in the morning because that's when they have the most energy, and then leave the other things later in the day or the other way around, right? So just kind of think about how you like to work and when you can tackle the most important things first because you want to get those out of the way, right? You're going to feel much better at the end of the day if one of your priorities was to write a chapter in your book and you did it, right, first thing in the morning, or you did it at some point during that day, you're going to feel better at the end of the day if you wrote that chapter than if you just cleaned your desk, right? So think about what's going to what's going to help you to progress more towards your writing goals or other goals, and do those first and then leave the other ones for later to see if you have time. So you can see that what I'm doing here is that I am working from my planner, right? So I have all my projects there, and I'm looking at what are the next steps towards moving towards that project. And that's when I say, okay, it's time to make a list of little steps that I have to take in order to get those projects done. So I'm not waking up and saying, okay, well, today, what do I need to do? And I'm not saying that that's wrong. I mean, like I said, that's what my husband does. It really works for him. He just doesn't, I don't know if he doesn't like to think way ahead, or he just wakes up and says, and kind of knows, maybe I don't really know, right, how to do that. And he just knows I have such and such client I have to see. This is what I'm going to do today. And tomorrow I might have something else that I have to get done. And so he can just get up and just first thing in the morning and say, I'm going to just write my list of 15, 20 things I have to get done. And when I'm done with that, I'm happy. I did what I had to do for the week. But the way that I do it is, again, I work from a larger goal, a larger various projects, and then I break that down until I can start making my small steps towards achieving the larger goal. So what I do like about lists, I used to think that a list or having, things that I tell myself I have to do is actually going to take away my creativity or the flexibility of getting things done. And actually the opposite is true. It actually helps me to be more creative. So like I mentioned before, getting it out of my brain helps me to just focus on what I'm doing, and really be creative with the work that I'm doing, rather than worried about things that I have to get done later, because I've already slotted them into a certain spot. So I don't have to worry about that. It's going to get done later. I can really focus on writing. I can really focus on doing something else that I need to get done. So I like lists as far as that, because it does actually open me up to creativity, and it also helps me be flexible. So although I have a list of maybe, I don't know, 20 items that I might have to get done that day, I know that I'm going to get the most important ones done, and I'm flexible, right? I'm flexible in that if something doesn't get done, I can definitely move it to tomorrow. I'm not like crazy about getting everything done, except for some things. Some things I know that I have to get done, and if I don't do it, like if I have my writing goal, and I will make sure that I get that done that day before I go to sleep. Otherwise, I will stay up until I get it done, right? So I am, kind of strict with myself as far as that, but I'm more flexible about other things that I can move around. So it does help with creativity, or helps you to be more creative, because your brain is not full of other stuff that you need to get done. And it also it allows you to be flexible also. Okay, and then also lists can be kind of fun, right? Just writing things down and checking them off can just kind of be rewarding in a way. So I do recommend that you do them, that you do get up every day and either work from a planner or work from just creating lists, if that's what you prefer to do. But do that rather than just saying, I know I'm going to write today, and I will get it done. Write it, put it down on the list of things to do for that day. Be really specific about what it is that you're going to do for your writing that day. I wrote down actually a list of things that why lists are helpful, and I wrote down that they help you to get organized and make your life a little less chaotic. They also help you to see things that must get done, obviously, because there it is. There's the list, right? They encourage you to break down larger projects and into those actionable items that you can get done. They help to empty your mind and release stress. They help manage your time better. They will You'll see all your duties and obligations in one place so that you can get better perspective, again, of what's the most important thing. Because sometimes when we have a huge list of things to do, it's like, oh my God, I have like all these things to do. And really, when you look at it and you put things in perspective, you have a few things that are super important, and then you have a bunch of other stuff that you would like to get done in a perfect world all in one day, but if not, it's not that big of a deal, right? So it just gives you some perspective because you have it all done, everything down in one place. Also, crossing the items off makes you feel successful, so that's kind of nice. Also, you can look back to your year and see everything that you've accomplished, because sometimes we think like, what in the world did I get done like last year? I don't know, right? But if you can go through and see all your lists and all the things you've crossed off, it's like, wow, I really did do a lot of stuff with my time. It can also motivate you to get things done because you see the things there. And if you see a big list and you don't see a little things crossed off, the next day you get up and you're more motivated to get everything done. You will be less likely to procrastinate because you know what needs to get done. You can get some clarity, and lists also make it easy to reorganize and add to your schedule and get things done. So there are some good things about the list. When I first thought about this topic, I was like, I hate making lists. Why am I going to talk about this? But I realized that they actually are helpful. So I wrote down on the list of things, of the reasons why lists are good, and kind of convinced myself that lists really are pretty good. They do help me to get organized and to get things finished and to be successful with most of my projects. So I hope that this has been helpful for you as well, and that you will go and create your own list today, tomorrow, and every day. All right. So if it helps, please hit the like and the share button, and then I will see you again next week. Bye-bye.